Dad's on.
Happy Monday, my friends at Prime Sports World. Welcome into another edition of our season preview series. I'm, of course, your host, David On Point, right there, CEO of Prime Sports World, Mr. Israel Rivera. And if you're looking for consistent content on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, you've come to the right place. Prime Sports World go live basically every day, bringing the most up-to-date content. So if you're looking for that kind of content, please like, share, and subscribe to the show. That way you don't miss our next episode, because we are about to be done with the AFC East as we're breaking down the Buffalo Bills 2022 season preview here today. And then we're going to go into the NFC East after this, where we're going to do the New York Giants, Christian Simpson's New York Giants on tomorrow, which is Tuesday. But yeah, welcome to the show. Welcome in, everybody. I also shared the StreamYard link to all of the places. So if you wanted to join us on the show and talk a little Buffalo Bills football, go to Prime Sports World on Facebook, go to Prime Sports World on YouTube, and go to Prime Sports World on YouTube or on Twitter. Or you'll find the link there for our StreamYard stuff. So if you want to join the show, feel free to please do so. I've been David Huffman. Right there is Israel Rivera. Izzy, what's up, man? How are you? Happy Monday, man.
It's going good. It's going good, man. Just chilling here, man, and just talking football with my good buddy David.
Yeah, hell yeah. So let's talk about Buffalo. Before we get into their storylines, let's talk immediate stuff that we're kind of following when it comes to Buffalo, or reaction to what do you think they're going to be like this season.
Well, I've said it plenty of times already so far before the season starts. They're going to be the best team in football. Offensively, defensively, they're going to probably have the best record in football. And I think Josh Allen's going to win the MVP this year. So those are my expectations. And I have them to be the favorites to win the Super Bowl this year.
I cannot argue with any of those points. I think Buffalo is going to be one of the premier teams in the AFC. We'll see. We'll talk a little bit about Brian Daboll, no longer a part of this organization, and moving on to, be the head coach of the New York Giants. We'll talk about him in a couple minutes. There are some concerns with the secondary. We'll talk about Trenavius White here in a couple minutes. But Buffalo, on paper, you look at their roster, you look at their team. This is the team that should compete for the Super Bowl. They should be in contention for the Vince Lombardi Trophy. And Josh Allen should be in contention for the MVP trophy. Let's talk about their storylines, the major stories that we're following in 2022. First of all, Josh Allen, MVP frontrunner, yes or no? Also, if you guys let us know down in the comments section. First, we're going to be breaking down the season storylines. We're going to talk about their draft. We're going to talk about their free agency, and then we're going to go through their schedule game by game, predicting how the schedule's going to, how their record's going to shake out when the season's over. And also, again, if you want to join us, the StreamYard link is in the post. So feel free to talk some Buffalo Bills football. So, MVP frontrunner, Josh Allen, yes or no?
Yes, absolutely. He's the MVP front runner. I believe he where did he come in last year? He came in second or third?
So I'm pretty sure he's been second in MVP voting the last 2 seasons. I'm pretty sure he was second last season. He was second the season before that when Aaron Rodgers won those 2 MVPs. I think Josh Allen finished second in both those years.
Yeah. So he's due to win one. I don't think Rodgers is going to win another one this year. I think his numbers are going to take a little bit of a dip this year. And I think, rightfully so, Josh Allen should be an MVP front runner this year. He's gotten nothing. He's nothing but progressed ever since he's gotten to the league. When he came into the league, he was a little bit he had a strong arm. He could throw on the wind. I mean, I've seen him play against, my alma mater in college. I thought he had all the intangibles, big, strong kid, fast. And when first year in the league, he was more of a, let's see what we have kind of guy. And then second year, he just got better as a passer. And he's gotten better as a passer every single season that he's been in the league. So I'm looking forward to what he brings next year.
Yeah, Josh Allen, the attempts in each season has gone up. His completion percentage from his rookie season till now has really risen. Like the season 2020, 2 years ago, I guess 1 year ago technically, basically 70% completion percentage, which is insane for a guy who throws as much as he does. And he gives you all the intangibles on the ground. 763 yards rushing last season at the quarterback position. That is insane production out of your quarterback.
Yeah, and I think, and then the year before that, he and God, I'm off the camera. The year before that, he led the league in rushing touchdowns for a quarterback, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. He had 10 plus rushing touchdowns from the quarterback position. So Josh Allen could get it done either or on the leg, on the ground, or in the air, and it's kind of scary. I mean, near the goal line, he's a threat. The element of surprise. I mean, there's. If he drops back, he can either run over you, he can run around you, something. And I've seen sometimes where he's jumping over people, so we don't really want him doing that. But yeah, Josh Allen can get it done on the ground, and he more so he can get it done through the air as well. So the kid's a crazy. He's an amazing talent in this league, and he's gonna be a multiple time MVP when it's all said and done.
Also joining us now on the show is a Buffalo Bills fan. His name is Austin James Liddell. What's up, Austin? How you doing, man? Welcome into the show at Prime Sports World, man. Welcome.
Thank you.
You want to tell us a little bit about yourself before we get on to the next storyline we're talking about with Buffalo Bills?
Fan right here, Austin Liddell.
Yeah. I'm just a true diehard Bills fan that was around for the 17-18 year playoff drought, however long that was, and now I get to enjoy all the success that we've been having lately. It's a nice turnaround for us.
Love it. So let's talk about the next storyline. So we kind of touched on Josh Allen kind of being the MVP frontrunner. Let's talk about Brian Daboll. Departure, leaving the team for leaving to go to the New York Giants, be the head coach there. Ken Dorsey is now the offensive coordinator of this team. What do we expect with the change in offensive coordinator? He has not had a new offensive coordinator since he got to Buffalo. He's had Brian Daboll his entire tenure in Buffalo so far since 2018.
I expect an improvement. I really do. I think that they're already familiarized with each other, and it's going to be a better offense that we're running. Daboll, he was too predictable, and it really cost us in some of the games. It really slowed our offense down because defenses were figuring us out. You run the same type of offense all the time, and it was not working.
So yeah, Ken Dorsey's not anyone new to Josh Allen. He's been the quarterback's coach / passing game coordinator since 2019. So he's familiar with what they're doing there, and he was also the quarterback's coach for the Carolina Panthers for 4 seasons with the Cam Newton. I don't really. It's hard to really say what the difference Ken Dorsey is actually going to bring to like on the field, because we don't really know how he's going to call plays because he's never done it, right?
So Ken Dorsey, you mentioned, I love that you mentioned the Carolina Panthers, because he was the quarterback coach when Cam Newton won MVP, and he was the quarterback coach when Cam Newton went to Super Bowl 50. So he's got a little bit of experience dealing with a high profile quarterback, and Josh Allen. He's been last year he was a passing coordinator, and he was the quarterback coach for the Bills. Before that, he was a quarterback coach, just quarterback coach in general for the Bills. Right. He's been there since 2019 to 2022. Ken Dorsey is he's been around the league for a long time. Former Miami quarterback back in the early 2000s. Won a national championship in Miami. I mean, he's played with superstars. He's been around the game. He's played in the NFL. He's been a scout. He's been a quarterback coach in the NFL. And I think the familiarity with Buffalo, I think I don't think it's going to be much of a difference. I think he's going to take the passing game to another level, in my opinion. And I think when we look at Brian Daboll, I'm just looking at the last 2 years, because the first 2 years that Josh Allen was there, or the first year, whatever, it was like, they were 24th, 23, 30th, and 30th in terms of yards per game and points per game. But when I look at the last 2 years, in 2020, 21, they were second in yards per game, they were second in points per game, and then last year they were fifth in yards per game, third in points per game, and then when we want to look at 2020, they're third in passing and 20th in rushing. And we always said this, David. We're like, these damn Bills can't they can't commit to the damn running game. Well, last year they were top 10 in rushing in terms of, they were 6th in rushing yards per game. They kind of sold that up. They made we saw some games where they committed to the run a little bit, but then Austin he's right that they did become somewhat predictable, because when that running game wasn't going, what they do, they just let Josh Allen determine the game and let him throw 50 times, So I want to see a little bit more balance this year. I think we started to see that last year. But I think, we can't let Josh Allen drop back 50 times a game, 45, 50 times.
Right, because defenses are going to keep playing for that.
But also, we don't want him getting hurt out there, right?
True.
Exactly.
But if he does as many quarterback draws I expect him to do, he could also get hurt that way as well. Eric, from the JCA podcast that has this assignment, Bills will be fine on offense, but sometimes they can be stagnant, which is definitely true. If you check it out, JCA podcast, they're going live in about 45 minutes. So if you want to check out that show after you're done with ours, please check out JCA podcast. It's one of my coworkers at the Illinois Media School.
All right. And definitely a great example of us being stagnant offense is that Jaguars game. I was disgusted by that. It was absolutely embarrassing. I couldn't fucking believe it, what we were doing out there. We made the Jaguars look like they had the best defense in the league. We should not have been doing that. I mean, yeah, they definitely got some talented players there, but they're a team that's nowhere near ready to be competing with any of the top teams in the league. They're just not. It should not have been a close scheme. We should not have lost to them.
I totally agree with you. So yeah, we'll see what the difference in offensive coordinator will have on this team. Brian Daboll was a big figure there in Buffalo. He had a lot to do with the development of Josh Allen. We just hope that continues under Ken Dorsey, and there's no reason to think that they won't. Let's move on to the defense side of the football. Trenavius White. When do you think Trenavius White will return back to this football team? He tore his ACL in December. The timetable for return is roughly about 10 and a half months, which puts him at about an October-ish return. He tore it during that Thanksgiving game on December 15th.
Had surgery.
Oh, he had surgery on December 15th.
Yeah. He tore it on Thanksgiving. Had surgery on December 15th. And the only reason, I'm going to get to this. The only reason why it was delayed is because he also had a meniscus tear with that torn ACL. So those can kind of be tricky. That's why his meniscus tear was a little. That's why they delayed it a little bit. Because of that meniscus tear. Because usually they usually have ACL injury when it's just one. Injury. They do it 1 week out of the, from the time that it happens. But he had that meniscus tear as well. So, yeah, David's right. He is scheduled to return in October, November. I laid out 2 scenarios for Trenavius White. Either you're real aggressive and you have him start in week 1, which I don't think is the case, right? And or you start him, you put him on IR for 3 weeks. He comes back around week 4. then I think if you go with the conservative approach, which
well,
I think
if they put him on IR, he wouldn't be eligible until week 6. I don't think.
I believe that's the PUP list, right? So if he's on the PUP list, he's got to be out for 6 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe that might be the PUP list. And so if he's on the PUP list, then he has to be out for 6 weeks. And then they have that week 7 bye week, and then he'll be back week 8 against Green Bay. I think that's not a bad idea. I think that's the route that the Buffalo Bills should go. They should be very cautious with this kid. I think they should bring him back around week 8 because
you got to think that
they're going to win. They're going to go 6-1, 7-0 maybe. It's
so easy to re-injure that and re-aggravate it. I've seen it happen too many times with athletes where they try and come back too fast from that type of injury, and they just end up re-aggravating it, or they tear it again, and sets back all their recovery, all their progress.
Yeah, I think you should definitely not rush him back. But when you look at this secondary, I mean, the cornerback position, obviously, outside of Trenavius White, there are a lot of question marks here. Like, we'll get into it when we talk about their draft. Khalil Elam's a rookie. Darren Johnson Jr. was a nickel corner. We don't really know what we're going to get out of him. They got a bunch of other guys on this roster that don't really instill you with any kind of confidence. Sorry, Neal, Dante Jackson, Cam Lewis, Christian Bedford, Nick McLeod. I think you need Trenavius White back sooner than later.
Right, but I did like what I saw out of Dane Jackson last year, that small sample size for last season.
And, I think they're going to need him. So, they can't rush him back, but they need to try to bring him back as quickly as safely, because this secondary is pretty weak without him on this team right now, because they let Levi Wallace walk. We'll talk about that when we get to free agency. But they're going to need him to be back sooner rather than later.
No, and I agree. They are going to need, and you are right. I mean, they have a bunch of question marks. I mean, you're basically going to go out there with the rookie from Florida, who wasn't. He was good in the SEC, but he wasn't the best. He wasn't like the greatest. That's why he was. He fell down into that late first round, right? And then Christian Benford's another late draft pick that you guys got. So there are mad question marks.
The thing I really liked about Elam and made me super excited to get him was the fact that right when he got drafted, he told the coach that he wanted the playbook on the plane. He wanted to study that. So that shows that he's dedicated.
Well, let's not.
I would hope that. I would hope that happens a lot in the NFL.
And let's not make this mistake. That there are two safeties, and Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde are one of the best safety combos in the league.
The best safety combo in the league.
They didn't emphasize that. The best safety combo in the league.
I couldn't think of a duo I'd rather have. I'm just thinking about it. I can't think of anyone now.
I don't mean to sound like when I say this, but I definitely agree 100%.
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
Maybe they're not individually. Maybe they're not the best safeties out there, but together as a tandem, they just work.
I agree 100%. Amazing. But I'll throw a tidbit out there. If my boy from Georgia, Louis Sean, turns out to what he's gonna be, him and Hitman Smith might be up there. As some of the big physical, hard hitting safeties with range that you might see in the NFL.
Let's talk about the draft. Moving on from storylines to their draft. So for the first round, they took Khalil Elam, James Cook, Delvin Cook's brother. They took out Georgia running back, Taylor Barnett, linebacker Baylor, Khalil Shakir, wide receiver Boise State. They took a punter in the 6th round, whatever. Christian Bedford, quarterback out of Villanova, Luke Tentua, offensive tackle out of Tech, and then Balin Spector, linebacker out of Clemson, with their 7th round pick. So we think about their draft analysis, because they definitely had a big need at cornerback and running back, and they kind of addressed them here in this draft. I would have liked seeing them even use another earlier pick on another corner. Basically, they also lost Levi Wallace, which we'll talk about here in a minute.
Yeah, I actually, if I had to give their draft a grade, I'd give it like a B minus. Just because a B minus. I love the first 2 picks. Khalil Elam, James Cook he's definitely going to fill a need. He's a north-south runner. And if he's anything like Dalvin, in the league at least. I know I've seen a lot of them at Georgia, but if he's anything like Dalvin in the league, they got a steal there. They got a really good one. And Khalil Elam is one of the faster cornerbacks in the league, one of the better cover corners, I guess, in the SEC. But then when I look at like a guy like Terrell Bernard, I mean David's right. They probably could have went and got some more cornerback help out of there. I know there were some guys left up on the board. Terrell Bernard, I mean, I guess it feels somewhat of a need out of for the pass rush or whatever the case is. But they needed cornerback help. They needed to solidify some cornerback help. And then when I look at Khalil Shakir, the 5th round pick. Now people aren't going to talk about him a lot. But I've seen this kid play a lot at Boise State, and man, he's got some of the best control out of all the wide receivers, I think, in the draft. I think this guy makes some of the best circus catches that I've seen out of this draft, and I think he's going to be a threat down the line. I think Khalil Shakir is going to be a guy that gets some PT moving into next season, and he's going to be a guy to watch out for as one of the younger wide receivers coming in the league.
Is the type of guy that likes launching the ball down the field. And it's not always easy for those wide receivers to go up and catch the ball. I mean, I seen the game when Boise State upset BYU. Perfect example. I mean, he had a circus catch that was probably one of the best catches of all season. And I mean, he caught that 40 yards, 50 yards downfield. So he's one of those guys, man, that he can really lay out and make some circus catches, and he's got some great control at the wide receiver position. So that's a guy to watch out for. And then some of the other guys are really Baylor Spector. I watched a lot of him at Clemson. He's a kind of not that athletic. He's a guy that's fundamentally sound. He'll be likely to make the team. Probably be a special teams guy. So, but then the other guys, I mean, Christian Benford, they're kind of hoping that he can add some quarterback depth out of Villanova. But we'll see. And then I don't get the punter. We saw a lot of teams do that. But I mean, the whole thing with the punter was our punter was painfully inconsistent last season, and I know we didn't punt the ball a whole lot, but it never hurts to just take care of every position on our team.
Sure, but you could always get those guys in.
And if we do start struggling on offense, and we have to start punting it more, then he can change the game just like that. The field position.
So my thing about it is that teams have really been putting an emphasis on field position. So to take a punter this early in the 5th round, was it the 6th round? Man, I mean that's pretty ballsy. And I think this kid is what was he, David? If you're not mistaken, he's probably one of the best punters in college football. He wouldn't have been picked in the 6th round.
He's been coined the punt god. He averages 51 yards a punt in college last season.
He's that kid. He's that one kid that could pin you in within the 10-yard range. So they kind of covet that. And a lot of teams have been coveting those type of punters. I mean, the guys that can pin you inside the 10. I mean, field position's key. I mean, I kid you not. I can't emphasize that, man. You got to to win a Super Bowl, you got to have all 3 phases of the game. If you like on special teams,
nobody knows that better than a Green Bay Packers fan.
Oh yeah. Thank you, David. I was going to get there for myself, but thank you. Go on ahead.
and they needed depth at the offensive line position. This tackle they got out of Virginia Tech is a massive human being, 6'8", 319 pounds. Played 2 seasons at right tackle in college, 1 at left tackle. He just gives them a swing tackle they can use in depth positions because they're offensive linemen tend to get hurt, and they're going to need that.
Yeah, we have the size now with him and Spencer Brown out of UNI. I'm excited to see how that plays out for us.
Yeah, Spencer Brown's 6'8" too. He got some massive.
We got samples for a red block.
Big elephants. You can eat peanuts off their head. Those guys are
massive to get our run game going. We need
so
some good
moving on from the draft. Let's talk a little bit about their free agency roster shakeup. So the major additions: Von Miller, Daquan Jones, Roger Scaffold, O.J. Howard. Major departures, big names here: Levi Wallace, Mario Addison, Mitch Trubisky, Jerry Hughes, who was I think the longest tenured Buffalo Bill.
He was.
Up until he's no longer on the team. And then Harrison Phillips, another guy who's a departure on this team. So what do they think of what they did with their free agency? The big contract for Von Miller, I think it was 7 seasons. It
was 6 years, but it's one of those weird contracts where it could be just 3 years.
Yeah, I think it can be voided, I think, without counting against the cap after a 3rd season.
Right.
Well, they lost a lot. I'll give you that. They lost a lot. Levi Wallace. I mean, you're not replacing that production.
Levi, nobody played more snaps on the defensive side of the football than Levi Wallace last season.
Exactly.
My only problem was another one that was inconsistent. There'd be some games where he was like a lockdown corner, and other games I saw him get burned time and time again. Or he would get penalties on himself.
David Henderson says Mitch Trubisky was next. He said, "Come on, Mitch Trubisky isn't a big name. He was buying nachos watching Allen play."
I know, but they still need a backup quarterback. And so when you look at their backup situation, they got Case Keenum, who they had to give up a legit asset for.
And we brought back Matt Barkley.
And Matt Barkley, who's probably not going to make this team.
Probably not going to make the team. And then, like you said, Jerry Hughes, man, he was there for a long time, Austin. He was there for a long time, so you're losing a little bit of that veteran leadership there. But you're picking it up with Von Miller. You're picking it up with a guy like Roger Stafford, bringing him onto that offensive line.
We're bringing back Jordan Phillips and Jack Lawson.
Right, and then O.J. Howard, I mean, he should give you some athleticism, at the tight end position. I mean, next to Dawson Knox. Yeah,
next to Dawson Knox. Take some of the pressure off of Knox.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I look at the Buffalo Bills in terms of like their whole like roster, I mean, I look at they got two athletic tight ends. They have Stephon Diggs, and then you got Jameson Crowder is another he's a good number 3 receiver. We're still looking for the number 2 though. I mean, is Gabriel Davis number 2?
I mean, he got that monster.
Gabriel Davis is. I mean,
that monster playoff game. He had a bunch of games during the season. I think actually he led all rookies the season before. I think he led all rookies in receiving touchdowns.
I don't think he'll get a small
Gabriel
size
Davis
of production. I think he'll get a lot more production this season now that Sanders is retired. I think he's going to replace him as number 2, and I have no problem with that because when he was out there, he was producing. Anytime they gave him snaps, he would produce for us.
Yeah, 7 touchdowns his rookie season, 6 touchdowns the most recent season. Everybody remembers that 4-touchdown game he had in the playoffs. Or was it 5? 5? 4?
4.
Yeah, 4. He just gives you a different intangible, 6'2", 210. The dude's stupid talented. He gives you something.
Then they got my boy Jay Kumar on there. Jay Kumar, who's
we keep on releasing him and bringing him back. It's like the 3rd time though that we've done that.
Former Packer, Jay Kumar, grew up in Crystal Lake.
Yeah, and then you got, I mean, like I said, you added a guy like Khalil Shakir. So, I mean, at the wide receiver position, it's Stephon Diggs and a bunch of, kind of unknowns, in my opinion. Right, Dave?
Outside of Jameson Crowder. Isaiah McKenzie's a pretty solid player. I mean, Tavon Austin's
he's a speedster. I really like the speed that Isaiah McKenzie brings to the table.
And so Jameson Crowder...
We all saw that worked against the Patriots last season. He just burned the entire defense by himself.
Jameson Crowder was a little banged up, if I'm not mistaken, last season. Right, a little banged up here and there.
Yeah, I think. So I mean,
about that. Yeah, no. So I mean, we got to see if he stays healthy this year. But when he is healthy, he's a good. He's got a good route tree out of that. As a 3rd best wide receiver on your team.
But the good thing is he won't have to have that pressure of being like a number 1 wide receiver for us.
No, you won't. That is true.
That is true. And Isaiah McKenzie, he's been in the league for 5 years. Last season, 2 years ago was kind of his best year. He regressed a little bit last year. Only had 1 touchdown, but he only played 15 games. Only had 20 catches. I'm not sure I would rely on Isaiah McKenzie being, the do-it-all wide receiver.
Right.
Yeah, I think Gabriel Davis is probably the guy. Jameson Crowder has been a steady hand and should give you consistent production for most of the season. And I like their tight end duo. I mean, O.J. Howard's been a pretty big bust since he got in the National Football League, but maybe a new scenery, a new place for him to play will kind of rejuvenate him.
I feel like he wasn't really a bust. Last season he had injury trouble.
I mean, he's been hurt.
Like he was the best tight end in Tampa Bay.
He's been more hurt than he's been on the field. And sure, that's unfortunate. But he's still he hasn't been like a 1st-round pick good.
No, he hasn't. And I'll actually take the kid out of Minnesota who tore his Irv Smith Jr. over O.J. Howard. As one of the tight ends that came out of Alabama. He had 14 catches for one touchdown last season. That's not really the production you want out of a 1st-round pick. Out of O.J. Howard.
Yeah. 14 catches last season. He played in every game.
And he got buried in the dead spot behind an old Bronx and a Cameron Brate. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what he does. And maybe this does rejuvenate his career. You're right, David.
Really, Henderson? Oh my God, we are not even gonna go there right now.
Yeah, but I think this is a team. You have a lot of money to stash in Josh Allen, so this is kind of what happens. So you're going to lose some people, and this is kind of the casualties of paying Josh Allen all the money they did the last offseason. So schedule. Let's get into it. One of the games I think people are most looking forward to in the entire schedule and the entire national football season is this first game of the year where they go to SoFi Stadium to take on the Rams, potentially a preview of the Super Bowl. But we as pundits always seem to do this, where we always kind of, this could be a preview of the Super Bowl, and then it never works out that way.
Yeah, I just want to take it one game at a time. That's all I want to do.
So let's talk about, they go to the Rams to take on the Rams, and do they come out of here with a victory?
This is a victory for the Buffalo Bills. Yes, it is. And I'm not going to give any reason. I'm just going to say, it's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be a shootout, in my opinion. I think it's going to be probably one of those high-scoring games. But I think Buffalo gets it done.
Trenavius White, for sure, not going to play in this game. I'm going to take the Rams to win this game. I just think that they're going to have too much on offense. I do think this is going to be a good game. And if this game was in Orchard Park, I'd probably go the other way. But since this is in SoFi Stadium, Rams are going to be, blazing the banner, celebrating their first championship during this game. I think they'll ride to an easy victory. Give me the Rams to win this game easily.
I'll take the Bills in this one. I mean, I think it's going to be a close one too, but we already went into SoFi just a couple of years ago. Maybe, it was with a different QB and Jared Goff, but they were still white hot at that point too. And we came in there and we smacked them in the mouth, and we were running away with that game until they called that bullshit interception, which changed all the momentum, and we still managed to pull out the victory at the end of the game.
All right. Well, during that game, they weren't coming off the Super Bowl victory, but I do like the rationale.
I get your point.
The next week, Tennessee comes to Orchard Park, take on the Buffalo Bills, and this is where I think they get their first victory. I'm gonna have them beat Tennessee. I think they come out and put the gangbusters on Tennessee. I think they want revenge for that game in the regular season last year, where they went for it on fourth down and didn't convert, even though they could have tied the game with the field goal. Give me Buffalo to get their revenge and beat down on Tennessee.
Yeah, Buffalo starts 2-0 on the season for me.
1-1. Austin.
Yeah, I think we'll pull another W with this game. Like you said, it's a revenge game for us. We're going to have that fresh in our mind, and we're not going to make the same mistake we made the last time.
Moving on from there, they go on to the road for 2 games. First of this is they go to Miami and to Hard Rock Cafe Stadium, take on the new look Miami Dolphins. How do you see this going shaking out? Gentlemen, I'll let Austin go first.
I think depending on how Tua plays, if he comes into the season and he's balling out, this could potentially be a loss for us. It could be a very tough game. Division games are always tough. They definitely got some more weapons on their team now. They didn't lose any major pieces on defense that I know of. They had a pretty solid defense, and their offense could definitely spike up for them.
Yeah, go ahead and give me Buffalo starting the season out 3-0. This is they're gonna sweep the division, so they're winning all 6. They're winning all 6 division games for me.
100% agree with you on that. I think they do sweep the division. I think this is one of the easier divisions to sweep. I think there are a lot of question marks with both the Patriots and the Dolphins, and the Jets are the Jets. So I'm going to take Buffalo to win this game. I have them go into 2-1. Where they go to Baltimore for the next game. This could be a preview of a playoff game maybe down the road at M&T Bank Stadium there in Baltimore, Maryland, take on the Ravens. Izzy, what do you think is going to happen here with this one?
Give me Buffalo to win this game here on the road in Baltimore. They start off the season 4-0, man. I just think that I think it's going to be another close one. I think you're going to see 2 MVP candidates duke it out in Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, and I think it's going to be a close one. But give me Buffalo to sneak out with a field goal win.
Awesome.
3-point win.
I definitely think we're going to win this game. If the Ravens aren't careful, I think it could be a blowout victory for us. I think our defense could be way too much for Lamar Jackson to handle. They haven't gotten anybody on offense, really, that I know of that's going to help them out and make their offense do a lot better this season.
Yeah, it's kind of Mark Andrews or bust there for Baltimore.
We're going to overwhelm them.
I tend to agree with you. I think Baltimore could potentially regress. They're going to be relying a lot on Lamar Jackson to make all the plays. We saw that last season when he didn't have any kind of he struggled a little bit. He was hurt a lot last season. Give me Buffalo to win this game. I got them going to 3-1 as they go into the one of the a little more difficult stretch of the schedule where Pittsburgh comes into town, into Orchard Park when they have, the question marks at quarterback. Do they beat Pittsburgh? Yes or no?
I'll go first. Yes, they do beat Pittsburgh. They're at home against Pittsburgh, so I do believe they get this win. So they start the season 5-0. I just don't think Pittsburgh has enough offensively to keep up with Buffalo.
I agree with Izzy on that one. I think it should be a pretty easy victory for us at home. They don't have their QB situation figured out yet. I don't know if they will by then. I mean, yeah, they have some weapons to throw through, and they have Najee Harris, but I think will be too much for them again. Like with the ball.
And the other big problem with Pittsburgh is that they never really addressed the offensive line problem that they have. And they'll give me Buffalo to win this game as well. I got them 4-1 going to Kansas City into Arrowhead, taking the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City maybe looking for a little bit of a revenge after getting drummed in the regular season and then beating them in the playoffs in the AFC was a divisional. How do you guys want to see this one shaking out? The rubber match, kind of, so to speak, between Kansas City and Buffalo.
I am actually, this is crazy. And Austin's probably going to be like, what the hell? I'm actually going to go with Kansas City to win this game at home against Buffalo. And I just think that we're going to see these two teams again in the playoffs. And I just think it's better for Josh Allen to lose to this team in the regular season, obviously, than to lose to them in the playoffs. And I'd rather them lose to them in the regular season than lose to them in the playoffs. So get it out the way. Get out your your cobwebs or whatever the case is, because I know it's going to be a tough place to play. They're going to be very emotional because this is like a team that's just like, damn, we can't beat this team. We can't get over the hump. But I think they're going to use it as motivation for the playoff game when they actually do play them in the playoffs.
That's all very well and good, but I actually think Buffalo's going to win this game. I think Buffalo's a better team on paper. The Tyreek Hill situation, I think, is still a bit murky. I know they got Sky Moore, who's a good football player, but give me Buffalo to roll it out, and I got them at 5-1.
I'm going to take Buffalo on this too. Losing Tyreek Hill, that's a huge loss for the Chiefs, and I don't know if they're going to be able to recover from that really on offense. I feel like they're probably going to rely on Travis Kelce a lot. We're going to game plan for that. And on defense, I think we'll just overwhelm them with all the weapons we got on offense.
Hey, you forgot about Juju Smith-Schuster, man.
Oh, come on.
I don't know about Juju.
And they also have MVS. I didn't say you mentioned MVS. Then they got their bye week. They got their bye week, and then Green Bay comes to Orchard Park. Austin, how do you see this one going? I'll let the Packer fan go last.
I guess I'm saying we're probably going to take a loss in this. It's going to be a very close game, but I think Aaron Rodgers might be too much for us. He's not another level when it's the regular season,
Every player who ends up winning the MVP trophy needs to have an MVP moment.
Oh, whatever, Henderson, 77-3. Get out of here.
It needs to have an MVP type moment. This will be Josh Allen's MVP moment. He will go over and beat in Orchard Park. He will beat the reigning MVP Aaron Rodgers in a game that is decisive, like where they beat him down pretty good. Because if you look at the other side on Green Bay, they have still not addressed their wide receiver situation, which is not a good one. They have, Sammy Watkins is like a shell of himself at this point, but like Buffalo wins this game.
Keep on telling everybody,
and they're going to win big.
I have a Chiefs fan. She says the same thing to everybody. Sammy Watkins, we know how he is. He cannot be a number one wide receiver. His body cannot handle it. He gets injured all the time. He can't take that workload. He really can't. As much as I love Watkins, just something he can't handle. His body can't handle it.
So I actually agree with you guys. I actually agree that Green Bay does lose this game. So I'm gonna have Buffalo at 6-1. I think it's gonna be closer than what David thinks. He says a beatdown. If it was up to David, Green Bay get beat down in every game. Okay, so please save me that. I think it's gonna be a close game. I think Aaron Rodgers is gonna keep it close. I don't think Aaron Rodgers. I think the defense is gonna keep it close. That's what I'm saying. I think the defense is gonna keep it close. The running game is going to keep it close. I don't know how much Aaron Rodgers is going to keep it close with that wide receiver core. I think they're going to rely on the running game a lot this year. But with that being said, I think Josh Allen does have an MVP moment. I think he does take them down, lead them down to win the game by a field goal or maybe by a touchdown if they're down 4. But I do think Josh Allen does have his MVP moment in this game. But it will be a close one, though.
The next week, they go to MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, take on those New York Jets. And, they get another victory here. I got them at 7-1.
I'll definitely take victory here, too.
This is a W, 7-1.
6-2 at that point.
Then they have two tougher games on the road. Minnesota and Cleveland come to town in back-to-back weeks. Do they win either of these games, or do they win? What do you think? How do these games shake out? Both of them are noon kickoffs. Minnesota versus Buffalo, and then Cleveland versus Buffalo the week after.
I think we'll win both of those games. Minnesota, I'm not scared of Kirk Cousins. He's mediocre to me. He's a stat patter, and we all saw what we did to him. Well, we had no offense back in 2018, Allen's rookie season. We went into their house, smacked them in the mouth, and beat them 27-6. Just completely overwhelmed them. And our team is so much better than it used to be, in this point in time.
Give me a W versus Minnesota and a W versus Cleveland.
And Cleveland, they don't even have their QB situation figured out, and I think it's really going to come back to bite them in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what Cleveland's going to be, because I don't know how long the Deshaun Watson suspension is going to be. There's a lot of unknowns when it comes to Cleveland. Yeah, it's like they traded for Deshaun Watson, which sounded like a good idea on paper, but now it's kind of turning into a little bit of a headache. But I have Buffalo winning both these games. I think they welcome in Minnesota and they get a W there. They welcome in Cleveland. Yeah, they get 2 Ws in a row. I have them now 9-1 going into.
I have them at 8-2.
Going into 2 road games in a row, where they got to go to Detroit. I think this game is on Thanksgiving, and then they got to go to New England in back-to-back weeks. Do they pull up victories in both of these games?
I think we do.
Okay. I think this is okay. So this is the point where the defense is at full strength. They got Trey White back. Everything's kind of clicking on full cylinders. So I do think they do beat Detroit. Even though this could be a trap game, this could be a game in which they play down to their opponent. Detroit's they're not that good of a team yet. They're a tough-minded team. That tough team to get out. I think they're going to keep a lot of games competitive. They're going to be a little bit better than the Jets are. I think they'll win more games than the Jets, but or maybe the same amount. But I do think that Buffalo does get this game on the road, and I think it'll be close. I think they'll win by a touchdown, by 7 points, which is close for Detroit's.
If TJ were on the show, he'd be complaining that Detroit is always on Thanksgiving, that they should put some other teams on there. And I like Detroit playing on Thanksgiving. That's all they have. Let them have their one moment.
It's the history of the game, TJ. It's the history. Okay, golly, they've been playing on Thanksgiving since the beginning of time, bro.
Yeah,
they want to keep on being the laughingstock in the NFL when it comes to Thanksgiving. What them?
Yeah, right. Yeah. What else do they have to live for? But yeah, I have them winning both these games. I have them at 11-1 before they go on the road for 2, or back home for 2 games in a row, with a in division New York and then Miami, taking on the Jets and the Dolphins. Gentlemen, how do you see these games shaking out?
I see us winning both of those games. I think we go on a major hot streak, go on a really long winning streak.
13-1, baby, after Miami. 13-1 after Miami.
I also have them at 13-1. I think they beat the Jets. I think they beat the Dolphins. I'm not willing to buy into the Dolphins, so I see them on paper, on the actual football field, because they've made a lot of changes to this roster. I got to see it.
Yep, you got to see it to believe it. Yep.
And then they end up two games are on the road, and they have 1 game at home.
I think we split. I think we beat Chicago, and then we lose to Cincinnati.
Is he?
So I'm actually going to agree with Austin on there. That was going to be my thing, was that they beat Chicago, but they lose to Cincinnati on the road. So right now they're 14-2 going into that last game against the New England Patriots.
And then I have us taking a loss in New England too, because at that point we're going to be resting all of our starters, getting ready for the playoffs. Meaningless game for us, pretty much. Just take the L. And
I actually think that we sweep all three of these games. I think we beat the Bears or Buffalo. I don't know why I say we. Buffalo beats the Bears, my Chicago Bears. Then they go to Cincinnati and take on the Tigers or the Bengals.
The Bengals.
And I think they squeak out another victory here. I do think Cincinnati is going to be good, but they're not going to be Buffalo good. And then I know they might rest their stars, but who knows what New England's going to be doing at this point of the season? They could be out of competition completely.
That is true.
So give me a sweep. I got them at 16-1 to finish the season, and they're the number 1 seed in the AFC, and it is not close.
I got them at 15-2, number 1 seed in the AFC. It's not even close.
13-4.
Honestly, the reason why, I think the reason why they do play people in New England is because I think that maybe Cincinnati, not Cincinnati, but maybe Kansas City or godly Baltimore might be on their heels, like with 13, 14 wins. Yeah, with like 13, 14 wins.
I don't see it. I think
you don't think any team in the AFC is going to be on their heels?
No.
Going to the last game of the season.
I have them at 16-1.
I think the Bengals might be.
They have a tough division. Buffalo has the easiest division in football outside of the AFC South.
Yeah. I just think that Cincinnati game, man, on the road to Cincinnati late. I think Cincinnati's going to be hungry for a win. I think Buffalo's like, okay, we pretty much got like number 1 seed wrapped up in my opinion, right? And I just think they kind of like lay off the gas a little bit and just kind of let Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and those boys kind of do some things on offense. So even though I think that Buffalo's going to be full health already on defense at this point, but yeah, I think Cincinnati beats them.
Yeah, so we'll see. Let us know down in the comments section what you think Buffalo is going to be like this season. I have them at 16-1. Austin has them at 14-2 or 13-4, and Izzy has them at 15-2 to wrap up the season. I have them losing the first game of the season and not losing again until the season's over. And I don't have. And if I were to pick a team that I thought was going to hoist the Vince Lombardi Trophy, it's this Buffalo Bills team.
Yes, I agree.
But I don't want to jump the gun in that. I want to wait and see how everything plays out for us. I want to let the team do the trash talking for me.
He's been hurt before, man. He's got some traumatizing moments growing up, man. Those 4 falls of Buffalo, man.
Wide right, baby. Wide right.
Wide right, baby.
I mean, I wasn't around yet. I wasn't even born at that point, but I was around for all those years that we had the playoff drought. So that was traumatizing for me.
He was there for the JP Lossman days.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was not fun.
The EJ Manuel days, like real rough.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, Trent Edwards,
Ryan Fitzpatrick, the Ryan Fitzpatrick days, the EJ Manuel days, JP Lossman, Ryan Fitzpatrick. The list goes on and on. Tyrod Taylor.
We were the Chicago Bears of the AFC when it came to QBs.
So yeah, this has been our Buffalo Bills season preview. Please like, share, and subscribe to the show. We're going to be doing the New York Football Giants tomorrow. So if you want to check out, join us on a show when it comes to the New York Football Giants, please check out the StreamYard link. Please like, share, and subscribe to our podcast. I've been David Huffman right there. It's Mr. CEO of Prime Sports with Israel Rivera. And Austin, thank you very much for joining us, man. We have enjoyed having you. We've enjoyed having you on the show, man. Thank you very much for checking us out.
I enjoyed being on here too.
And I don't know if you know this yet. Oh, he's out of here. He left. But what do we do here at the Prime, my friends?
We bring the heat, ladies and gentlemen. Bringing the heat 24/7.
Yes, we are bringing the heat. It's 87 degrees in Chicago right now, so a little less heat would be great.
Yes.
We'll see you guys all tomorrow. You all have a good rest of your day and stay safe out there.
Stay safe, my friends.